Tonight, London, most of Essex and parts of Hertfordshire are placed into Tier 3, leaving 34 million people living in the top level of restrictions in England. Currently, the 5-day celebrations are still to go ahead, allowing 3 households to mix inside together. But some scientists are calling for families to change their plans and axe Christmas celebrations to halt the spread of coronavirus. So, Saira, I'll ask you this first. Are you going to be rethinking your Christmas plans?
Well, where do you start on this? Rethinking the fact that we're in lockdown, then we come out for a couple of, for 3 or 4 days, then we go back into lockdown. It's caused panic amongst most families. It's caused, loads of disagreements about who's going to come, who's not going to come. Look, I'm going to have Steve's parents over at ours because it may be Granddad's last Christmas. That's a very, very sad thing to say. Even Granddad kind of acknowledges that. So we are going to bring Granddad and Grandma over to ours. We've also got Steve's family coming over the next few days. My mum's in Nottingham, so I won't be able to see her. But you know what? Despite all of this, what I'm really angry about is the fact that I believe now that this government has lacked complete leadership when it comes to dealing with this. I feel like when you look at other countries, you can do this in the north, you can't do this in the south. You can do 3 days, you got into lockdown, tier 2, tier 3, tier 1. It's so confusing, and it is added to the mental stress of so many people. As a leader, sometimes you have to make very difficult decisions, but they have to be based on scientific and expert advice. For me, Boris and his government have let us down in dealing. I think they started off well, but I think they've left this nation confused, worried, and with great mental health issues. It's not about Christmas for me now. It doesn't make sense. I'm just worried about what's going to happen after December. That's what I'm worried about.
Saira, you're talking about strong leadership. It's interesting that this week Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, came out and said, right, this is not going to be popular, but I am now, my kind of lockdown light didn't work, and now the whole of Germany is going into a serious lockdown and nobody can virtually do anything because she's decided it's not a popularity competition, and she has exhibited the strong leadership that sadly we don't seem to be having here. It's almost as if the Prime Minister wants to be a people pleaser by giving us a Christmas time off, and the scientists all sound like the headmaster at school handing out the lines and the bad news you don't want to hear. So it's not surprising, as you say, people are confused. Obviously, I feel incredibly sorry for people who own pubs and restaurants who now thought that they might be able to stay open, and it's a big week of the year for them next week in terms of business, and now they're forced to close from Wednesday. So that's terrible. But all these tiers all over the country, people going from one tier to another and then in and out of the Christmas bubbly bit. No wonder the entire nation is confused, and you can't help suspecting that behind closed doors, people will simply do what suits them.
But I think I agree in the respect that it is very confusing what you can do in one tier and what you can't do in another. I equally agree there should be more forthright, this is what you're doing, like it or not. But I've got to say, girls, I would hate to be in the position where I was having to make those decisions. And maybe he is trying to please everyone. Don't we all like to try and please everyone? And it's all very well saying, we've all just discussed there the mental health issues of all this happening. He's also taking that into account. If I lock people massively down again, and people that are going to lose their jobs and won't be able to pay bills, and all, that is going to cause major mental health issues. Equally, but Coleen, letting you out, letting you in, letting you out is causing... There's no right or wrong to this. I would just hate to be ruling it. And I just think you look after yourself and your loved ones and do what's right for you.
I think you're right, Coleen, to a certain extent, but I would say that, when you are the Prime Minister of a nation, you have to be strong. And if you are strong and you have a government that supports you, then the people go with you. You can manage this. We had people of his own government breaking lockdown rules at the height of lockdown. That basically made people mistrust him. And so that's why the people haven't gone with the government on so many occasions now. And they're not listening. And that's because I don't believe that we've ever had that strong leadership on such an amazing, such a big issue for this nation.
Well, Saira, we asked our lovely viewers at home, are you now rethinking your Christmas plans? Only 36% of you are rethinking your Christmas plans. 64% are going to carry on with what you'd originally decided to do. We've got some comments here. Deb said, we won't be seeing anyone. It's not worth the risk. The only bubbles we will have will be in our drinks. And Marie says, I'm not so much rethinking, just not taking any unnecessary risks. We want to be together next Christmas, so this year will be virtual.